Um, Now on listing prices, um, do not put decimals and zeros after the price. My worst price that I saw this month was $2,500, $502.50. Now that one is the worst, one of the worst prices I've ever seen. Um, One reason is we don't put decimals and zeros or 99 cents after the price in our field. Uh, Number two, you want to avoid round numbers. The second worst price I've ever seen is $100. And no, we don't want to use round numbers, and I will explain that. It's called price breaks. We do want to use numbers ending in fives and nines. And then finally, we don't want to highlight and we don't want to hide our prices. Um, so do not put price in boldface in your print brochure or on your website or in your emails or in your social media. Um, you want to put the title of the course in boldface and nothing else in boldface. Um, Here's another concept. Most of us have clustered pricing. And what I mean by that is that most of our prices are clustered within 15% of all the other prices we offer. And that, of course, again, is about formula pricing in some respects. But the reality is that you miss audiences at both the lower end and the upper end. On the lower end, some people just aren't able to pay as much as other people. And so some of your events or classes, you do want to have lower price in order to attract and keep those people. On the other hand, there are people in every community who not only can pay more, but they also value your course more if it's priced higher. And so that is called diversified pricing, and there's no formula for it, but you want to keep it in mind, particularly at the higher end. That's where you have room to price courses higher and make more money and subsidize those courses that are mission central or lower priced. In the last century, there was this automobile company called General Motors. It's may still be around, but they had a price for every social strata in society. There were Chevrolets for the working class. There were Pontiacs and Oldsmobiles for the middle class. There was a Buick for the upper middle class. And then there was the Cadillac for the upper class. And that is diversified pricing. So we want to think about that as we price our courses. You basically want to price your courses once a year. I know you do 3, hopefully 4 sessions a year. You do want to review them once a year. Now, a price break is the point at which some people say the price is too high. Not everybody has the same price breaks because everybody has different ability to pay, and also people differ on how much they value different things. But everybody walks around with prices in their heads about what they think is too much for anything. And the price break is always a zero. Nobody walks around saying, I'm never going to spend more than $89 on X. No, it's $100. And so you always want to have your prices, or any price, any course price, just below the price break. And there's two reasons for that. Both of them have to do with income and registrations. If someone thinks $100 is too much and your price is $95, then more people will want to enroll in your course. And then there's those people who are willing to pay $100. And if you're willing to pay $100, you're almost certainly willing to pay $125. And you could be willing to pay $150. So pricing, and I've seen this price a lot, $109. No. If you think that course can double in registrations, price it at 95, 98, or 99. But in most cases, it's not going to double. And so if people are willing to spend $109, they're willing to spend $124. And so you are losing money, a lot of money. What is that? That's over 10%, raising it from 109 to 124. You're raising it 10%. Is 10% a lot of money to you? Yes. Is 10% a lot of money to people with $100? No. And therefore, you can gain money without losing registrations. In fact, you can lose registrations and still make more money at 124 instead of 109. And so this is these are price breaks for community classes, leisure, personal development, avocational, hobbies, etc. And this is price breaks for those of you doing workforce or professional development courses where they are priced higher on the usually. Yeah. So once again, to go back, once a year, go through all your prices and just see if you missed any of them being priced just below a price break. In market pricing, an easy way to do pricing for a start, this is the first draft, is to take your costs and double it. Now, if you're only doing personal development courses, your percentage operating margin is going to be around 40%. So you're not really doubling it. But if you're doing continuing professional education, it is 50%. And so you want to double it. You get an income goal. You already know your average participants per class. So you already know within a minor range how many people you're going to get. You're not going to get 50. If your average is 10, you're not going to get 50, and you're not going to get 2. So average participants per class, we come out with $100. And then once again, your options are reduce it to 95 or increase it to 124 or 125. When do we do price increases, or how much can I increase price? Well, this is rough LERN guidelines. Basically, if you're going to increase the price less than 15%, just do it. You don't want to go over a price break. You do not. But if it's within that, yeah, just increase it. 15 to 24%, you want to test it. You could test it with a new course. You could test it with a separate promotion. If you're doing up to 50% price increase, you want to add new features. And so you would want to add, for instance, readings or a manual. Paper is cheap to add. Food is way too expensive. Don't add food to the class. Add a handout, some kind of paper or something else that, for instance, another hour, another 2 hours. And then if it's more than 50%, you essentially have a new course and you need to budget it according to that. So here's some easy ways to raise prices. And you raise them to be just under the price break, as I have said. Example, no course should be priced at $72. People will pay $79. No course should be priced at $94. Raise it to $95, $98, or $99. Raise 164 to 175, or even better, 195. And all that money goes to your bottom line. It's surplus. It's not income. It's even better than income because it pays for your salaries. And here's the thing about prices. Prices are in 3 stages in relationship to attendance. We all think we're at the last stage. At the far right hand of the chart, you see the dotted line is the increase in price. And we're all afraid if we increase it by $1, registrations will plummet. But actually, the relationship between prices and attendance are in 3 different stages. The first stage is when your price is actually a little bit low. And computer courses were in that category for many, many years. AI could be in that category right now, but that's the category where people value it much more than you're charging. And in fact, a lot of people value their time more than their money. So you raise the price, as shown by the dotted line, and attendance actually goes up. The second stage is that you increase the price, once again, the dollar, the dotted line, and attendance doesn't change. It doesn't go down and it doesn't go up. And as a result, you benefit. And my example of raising 109 to 124 would fall in that category. And so if you're a betting person, I'm not, but I would bet on this. I do bet. I do bet on lifelong learning a lot. And so you would have only 1/3 chance of being right if you thought that raising your price a couple of dollars will result in registrations plummeting. Now, of course, there is a point at which that will indeed happen, but most of us are nowhere near that point. All of us are working in nonprofit organizations, and we perpetually, consistently underprice our stuff. Yeah, we don't go away from this webinar doubling our prices. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting that your program has to stay alive. It has to stay financially self-sufficient. And if your program is not surviving, then nobody is getting any of your courses, no matter how low they are priced. So raising prices is almost always financially beneficial. In the 1990s, I read a story, and there was a graph that showed that you can raise prices a certain amount and registrations can decline and you still come out ahead. And so, for example, you can raise your price 10%, registrations can decline by 20%, and you still come out ahead. So you want to lower your price only if to get under a price break, to reach another type of audience if the economics dictate, and like once every 10 years, something will double if you lower the price. But that's, yeah, that's like twice or 3 times in your whole career. And then fourthly, if your expenses decline significantly. But that is something that I, being a betting person, would not bet that your registrations are going to go up so significantly that you will make more money by lowering the price. The bet says just the opposite. Raise the price there. And raise the price. This is a new recommendation, but we have lots of classes, you and I, that we're going to have to cancel because they just had such low enrollments. And so we want to do anything the second time we offer a course before we give up on it for a couple of years. So change anything, including the price. Anver Suleiman once said that in a recession, there's 2 kinds of buyers: people who want something and people who need something. And in a recession, you get the people who need something. And you can think, regardless of whether we're in a recession or not, you can think about that in the same way for your courses. for some people, they need your course. It may be a hobby, but nevertheless, they internally feel like they need it, and they would be willing to pay more money to have the class go than to see it canceled and not have an opportunity to take it at all. And so if you have a course with consistently or canceled class because of low enrollments, give it a shot. Increase the price and see if you can break even with fewer people than you normally need. Raise the price for winners. Any course or event that is sold out, you should, on a financial reasoning or rationale, raise the price. Now, a number of you have non-financial reasons for not increasing the price of a sold out course, such as swimming lessons. And that's, of course, legitimate. But if you're just looking at finances, which is what we're doing here, raise the price for anything that's sold out or has a waiting list. Then another way of raising prices is to do it for new courses. We all have 20 people, and those 20 people love to complain, and they complain about raising prices. They don't complain about the price of airline tickets rising or jam and jelly price rising, but they do on courses. You know their names. There are only 20 of them. And so we need to disregard those people. It doesn't even mean they won't register. But one strategy is to put new prices on new courses each year. Because they're new, you're not really raising a price. You're just offering it at that price. And then over time, your average price per course goes up and you're able to cover all your costs, which all go up despite those 20 people thinking that your cost of living goes down and that your heating bill goes down. Well, theirs goes up. No, your costs do go up. And this is one approach to raising prices that is better received by the public. Another approach is to add something of value. Again, low cost to you, high value to them. Paper, books, manuals, great. Food, awful, expensive. And the other thing about food is that a turkey sandwich costs you $25. And people say, oh, I could make a turkey sandwich for $3 at home. So they're thinking you've added $3 and you've ordered $25 turkey sandwich from catering. Yeah, they don't even value it. Here's another one that I like. This is called triple your price. And take a guess at your average price. I mean, you ought to know it, but let's just say it's 150. Triple that, This is a great exercise to do while you're stuck in traffic driving to work. Instead of worrying about all those loser courses, try this exercise instead. Triple that price. So say it's $4.95, and now create a course or an event or something that some people would pay $495 for. We don't say $495. We say $495 because it sounds lower. But generally, your higher priced courses have a higher profit margin. That's another interesting thing to research at the end of the year. But mostly it pans out that higher priced courses have a higher profit margin. I was just analyzing a program this morning, and yes, the higher priced courses made more money, even with lower registrations, than another category of courses with a lower price and more registrations. So yeah, it works. Uh, so yeah, all of us can do this. There is a market. It doesn't matter whether you think there's a big market or not. All you need is X number of people, and go for it. Design a course around a high price. Discounts and repeat rate. You only make money on repeat participants. So if you offer a discount or another incentive to take more courses and events, I'm going to say it always pays off. Maybe sometimes, but you screwed up. If a discount doesn't work, you didn't model it on paper to see what the possible finances could be. So in general, every discount works, but every discount, you should write all the possibilities down on a sheet of paper, including what if everybody takes the course for a discount? You should make money on that. So again, you don't make money on new participants. You spend 6 times more to get a new participant than a repeat participant. And so your repeat participants are really cheap to get back. And you served them once and they want to come back. They do. So discounts for you repeat participants are win-win. Here's another strategy on pricing. Do a significantly higher price with 2 elements. One is more value, and the second one is selling more value. Teachers are now the second most important reason why someone takes a class. The first is the topic. That's always been the case. It probably will always be the top priority. But again, I was working with a program this morning, and people come back over and over and over again if so-and-so is teaching it. And so they highlight so-and-so teaching it. And it works every time. So one, adding value, but 2, we don't sell that value enough. And so this is another strategy for increasing prices. Here's another strategy. This one, I don't know where I heard about this one. It works. When raising the price, raise only one digit. So you can't do that in every case. But if you're going from $31, you go to 39 and you've raised only one digit. Next, I would recommend going to 49. Again, you're raising only one digit. And also, I would suggest that if you absolutely have to readjust, reset your prices by raising them substantially, that you do it all at once, and then get back everybody, then raising it 10% a year. That's just not gonna, that's gonna go over worse with your participants rather than explaining that, you gotta stay in business and you haven't raised prices since 2015. And then another strategy is to do a better brochure, a higher quality brochure. We're talking stock, we're talking color, we're talking images. Those three things, maybe size. The magazine size would be the better brochure size-wise. And, oh, here we go, Roy. That's all I know today.
All right. Well, good job, Bill. So the first question that came in, somebody's asking on your slide 10, slide number 10, is the first bullet worded correctly?
Maybe not. Where are we? Where in the world is slide 10? You want to ask me another question while I look at slide 10?
Sure. Next question. What classes do you all run for $495? Ours are much lower unless they are trips.
Well, you're doing, it sounds like, personal development courses, and you may not have 495 course. I can tell you that LERN offers online courses at 195, and then we package them as a certificate with 3 courses, and they're priced at 495, and most people go for 495. So that would be an example where you could take a popular subject or a variety, and package them with a discount that also gives you much more income. This is slide 10, Roy. Go through your offerings and raise every course, not just under a price break, to being just under a price break. Yeah. I mean, not just under a price break means $89. Raise it to being just under a price break. $95, $98, $99.
Got it. All right, next question. Our department has struggled to have consistent pricing. I know you don't recommend formula pricing, but do you recommend having pricing guidelines? Maybe by types of classes, lengths of classes, etc., just to keep things consistent.
No, 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 no. the dollar store is the only place where they're consistent. And now even the dollar store has thrown away the whole dollar idea. No, the public is not your internal system. Um, you don't price according to the person sitting in the office next to you and what is easiest for the person sitting in the office next to you. No, we are in a marketplace and we can get creamed. And we do get creamed when we do not run our programs like a business. No business, hardly any business runs prices because it's convenient or easy. Because once again, you're going to overcharge if you're selling a pencil, and you're going to undercharge if you're selling a lawnmower. No, pencils and lawnmowers have totally different prices.
All right. Bill, can you please speak to the impact and influence of cancellation and refund policies?
Oh, yeah, sure. Great question. And all these questions are good. I mean, ignore my little rants on the side. Yeah, cancellation. You want to lower your cancellation rate to have it be between 10 and 20%. If you're less than 10%, it means you're not marketing. You have a bigger audience out there. And again, I looked at a program this week and they have they said like 2% cancellation rate. No, get out there. And you have a bigger market out there. But most of us are not in that situation. If you're 20 to 25%, you would want to work on trimming it. Every percentage counts. 25 to 30, you have a problem. That means you're spending 25% of your time, you're wasting 25% of your staff time setting up courses that don't run. It takes just as much time to set up a course that you cancel than one that you run. And if you're over 30%, oh my goodness, get the life jackets. You got to do something. And there are things that you can do. None of these problems are, all of these problems are solvable. We have dealt with every problem in the book, and there are answers for virtually all of them. So refund policy. I'm on the side of what we call a liberal refund policy, because the data shows that companies, organizations make more money with a liberal refund policy. Now, many of you are in institutions where, yeah, you don't have that at all. And maybe you and I are just whistling in the wind about it. But if you can do a more liberal refund policy, do it. Refunds should be less than 4% of your income. Almost all of you have refunds totaling less than 4% of your income. All of you could be giving back more refunds. It sounds awful, but you get an image of serving people when you give back money and you say, sorry, the course was just not right for you. Now, it doesn't mean that your course is awful. We at LERN get refund requests for great instructors and terrific courses, as well as average courses and teachers. So you're not admitting inferior quality by giving a refund. You're saying this course is not right for you. What else about cancellation? You want to try to cancel a course as close to the starting date as possible. It used to be programs canceled courses 1 week out, but people are registering later, closer to the time of the first class. And so the standard now is 3 days. And you could do a mathematical calculation about what if we just kept going with this class 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, to figure, because there is a percentage that would get enough registrations in the last 3 days, day number 2, day number 1, and 0 day. And you have that data. So that's not going to end. We say to register early, but no, they're not, and they won't. So that's another tip. I'm not sure if I addressed this one and got the right angle right. Could you ask the person to type in whether I addressed this question enough or not?
Yes, we sure will. Also, in the meantime, Bill, somebody's asking if you can show the 2 price break slides again.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get the slides from Roy afterwards. So, yeah. Put this one on the wall or the other one. This is for community personal development or lower class prices. Oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. And this is the one for higher priced workplace professional development.
All right. Bill, the next question I have for you, should your pricing remain consistent with that of other colleges? What is the rationale for raising prices during an economic downturn?
Yeah, well, first, it doesn't matter what other colleges are doing. You got to be concerned about your community, your audience. And communities are a little bit different. There are communities with more wealthy people, and there are communities with more lower income people. I wouldn't look at another community college. You're from a community college. I wouldn't look at another institution at all. I mean, it might be interesting. I would view it in terms of competition, even if they're not competition. I would just view it as, oh, that's interesting. If they were more successful, I would certainly have lunch with that person and talk shop. But no, I wouldn't. No, you're responding to your audience and your community. And what was the other thing, Roy?
Let me get back to that question. Hang on 1 second. She said, should your pricing remain consistent with that of other colleges? And what is the rationale for raising prices during an economic downturn?
Yeah, the rationale for raising prices in an economic downturn is that there are people who want your courses, and an economic downturn, they're not going to be able to afford them or prioritize them. And then there are people who need your courses, and they need them regardless of an economic downturn. And that it doesn't mean you raise your prices in an economic downturn, but that is the rationale if you raise your prices in an economic downturn.
All right, Bill, when you are pricing, do you take into an account employee discounts that would be given? Currently, we're not reimbursed for the employee benefit of free CE classes. Should I fight the fight for HR reimbursement, or do I just assume that cost for the other attendees?
Both. Yeah, you do fight the good fight with HR, but I will tell you that we believe that having people in your institution, employees in your institution, taking your classes helps retain them over the long run as employees for your institution. And that is worth big dollars to your institution. The cost of replacing an employee ranges from 75% of their annual salary to 100% of their annual salary. That's a lot of money. So yes, I would argue for some kind of exchange in exchange for giving employees complimentary courses. I would not argue for eliminating free courses for employees. This is a value point that I would say over and over again to the CEO of your institution what you are doing for that institution. And this is a huge value. This is far more than anything. So yes, I would argue, and it would be nice if somebody paid for it, but I wouldn't count on it. And then secondly, you do need to account for that, or you need to have your superiors sign off on not making $1 zillion because you had 1 zillion employees from the institution taking a class.
All right, Bill, this person says, sounds like in most instances, when in doubt, raise the price. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I need to know what the doubt is. uh, there are places where you should be raising prices. It's not the only strategy. And the action is in divisions. You have divisions. There are groups of classes that have one thing in common. They have the same subject, or they have the same type of audience, engineers, nurses, or they have the same format, one night tours online. They don't have all three, but they have one of those. And you need to look at divisions. So just saying when in doubt, raise prices, that is way too simplistic. You're gonna get into trouble. It is worth all of this is no cost to you. You're thinking about it in the late afternoon, the phone's not ringing. Just go in, find out what your divisions are, what the prices are for each division, Yes, I looked at a program this week where I will be recommending raising prices in this division, but not in this division. And so it is takes a little more um, brain power and data analysis.
All right, Bill, for corporate training, do you recommend a flat rate up to a certain number of students or pricing per person to cover costs doubled?
Yes. Um, yeah, that is a debate in every organization. Um, and there's um, and I would say in every contract, I would not do make a general rule. I just don't like rules. Um, Pricing is about meeting the customer's um, interests and satisfaction, and treating every organization, every individual is different in society, and treating everybody the same isn't treating them equally. It just isn't anymore. So I would treat every contract um, and just mock it up, do it on paper, find out what they need, how many people they think they will have, how many people they will guarantee, and figure out, do your costs double if they have 50 instead of 25 people? Well, maybe not. Um, if there's an exam and a $50 manual, yeah, it does increase your cost. Um, so, yeah, that is a great question. And it's one that every program that I know of um, considers in pricing training for business.
All right. And Bill, do you suggest offering a duplicate course to start with or to wait until you have a waiting list? So I think what they mean by that is, do you suggest offering multiple sessions of the same course in order to
Yeah,
take in more, or wait
thank you.
for a waiting list?
Thank you, Roy. Oh, no, I would not set up multiple sections of a course until you have more than enough registrations in the first one. I mean, there is, when you have and only set up additional course sections when you have a profitable or popular course. Uh, if you set up, if you have 10 people in a class and you decide to offer it in 2 locations, you're going to get 5 people in each location. But if you have 20 people, and this is uh, well above your average, yes, you want to take it to a different location. You want to take it to a different day and time. Yes, you want to explore, and it's much easier to set up additional sections of a popular class than to set up a whole new class. And you know it's already popular. The second section may not be as popular as the first, but it is far more likely to be profitable than creating a whole new course. A whole new course, 30% to 50% of new courses get canceled. That's not going to happen if you fill a course and you set up a second section.
All right, Bill, this one is more of a statement than a question. So I'll read it out to you and you can take it from there. This person saying, if you cancel less than 1 week prior, enrollees aren't happy since they've arranged their schedule to come to a class that we are now not running, teachers and enrollees don't have the opportunity to now do something else? And again, that's just a statement more than a question.
Yeah, okay, but again, you're gonna cancel more classes than you need to. One strategy, and this program did it way back when mail delivery was the thing, and you can do this by email. You can tell people a week before that you don't have enough people and you need 3 more people, 2 more people, 4 more people. And 25% of those classes that you would have canceled, those people will find additional people to make the class go. So you don't give up 1 week ahead of time. Um, every one of us should be emailing those participants 1 week ahead and telling them that, yeah, we might have to cancel, but go out and help us recruit another person.
All right. This next person asks, what about offering free classes?
Yeah, can I come? Free classes have an appropriate role. They are not always popular, and people don't always come. You could probably expect half the people who sign up for a free class to actually show up, but they are used to interest people in a new subject area, where then you promote an additional class for money. And they can be used for Mission Central classes, although I prefer a sliding scale. Um, this was a huge argument in the field in the 1970s, whether to charge people for classes or whether every class should be free. This is a great philosophical debate from the 1970s, and charging one out. But that doesn't mean that some things couldn't be free. And yeah, I would test in certain circumstances or with certain audiences. Um, you got to have a reason behind offering it for free.
All right. Bill, this next person says, you mentioned that the instructor is a major factor in repeat customers. How do you generally find instructors? I send a teaching request invitation each semester to former instructors, and I keep a running job listing on our employment webpage. We seem to get the same response from the former instructors with the same classes, and very low response from the ad. Do you suggest that I offer and advertise classes without having an instructor and then searching for the instructor if it gets enough enrollment? Is that successful most of the time? Wouldn't that increase the cancellation rate if I cannot find an instructor?
You bet it would increase the cancellation rate. And then when you have a high cancellation rate, a whole lot of your customers think, why should I sign up? They just cancel it anyway. So no, you definitely, in unusual circumstances, if someone suddenly gets ill with a disease 3 days before your brochure is going to press, and it's a popular subject, and you can get another knitting instructor, another car mechanic, I would run it. without knowing the name of that person, feeling confident that I would get an instructor. But no, I wouldn't run any course generally without having an instructor. I'm going to have to say that this is a little bit, it's a great question. This is one of the top questions in the field right now, how to recruit instructors. But I'm going to have to say we're having our annual conference in November. It's online, and this is a major theme. And we have pioneering breakthroughs on recruiting instructors and keeping instructors and getting instructors back there. And it will be well worth your money to be there. In the meantime, we hope to have a report out on recruiting instructors and the basics of doing that. But I'm going to have to not get into that in this webinar.
Perfect. Let's see if we could just stick one more question in here for you, Bill. Do you see successful examples of using tiered or value-based pricing models for non-credit programs based on learner type? Example, personal enrichment versus business upskilling.
Wow. I'm not fully understanding tiered pricing in terms of what the question is about. I understand tiered pricing, but the examples seem to be two totally different types of classes. Can you read it again, Roy?
Sure. So they ask, do you see successful examples of using tiered or value-based pricing models for non-credit programs based on learner type? And then they put in parentheses as an example, personal enrichment versus business upskilling.
Well, I'll just talk about it in general. I'm not sure exactly what the question is, but personal development courses are a totally different rationale for taking them. They may be the same customers. One person may be taking a business course and a knitting course, but their motivation for each is very different, and the financial return is totally different. So business courses are priced significantly higher because the return on investment is measured by workers, employers, businesses, and their work time is so valuable that they want that return to exceed their time input. Whereas personal development courses, yeah, you might take flower arranging, but no, you're not going to spend it the same way you would for your business. And I don't see a tier from personal development to business. I will say that LERN has discovered that if you're in a higher education institution, that anybody taking a non-credit course, that for a minimum of 4% of those people later take and enroll in a credit or degree program. And we are now asking all colleges and universities to measure that contribution that continuing education non-credit makes to the institution, because it's worth millions of dollars, and it's not being counted. Um, so that's what I got on that one.
All right, you think you could take one more?
Sure.
All right. How can we design a pricing strategy that remains financially sustainable while ensuring access for entrepreneurs and small business owners who may not have disposable income but critically need these courses to grow or to sustain their ventures?
Well, I am all in favor of, and I'll use this term again. I don't know if mixing the last question with this one makes sense, but in tiered pricing, I am all in favor of having discounts for certain kinds of people, namely those with lower incomes. And so with business courses, I think you can do the same. LERN does this with our membership dues, so that smaller organizations can be involved with LERN. And it pays off for all participants. I haven't heard anything negative from customers who know about having discounts for certain kinds of customers who are not able to afford it. So I would strongly recommend it. You give a great example of people just starting out in business, and on that, there are millionaires who are just starting a new business. And then there are ground up people who have never started a business or made it successful and are just scraping by. So I would have no problem creating that. And I believe in that. I think that is an ethical approach to our field, where money is often a barrier for lower income people, and I include small business people in that.
All right, Bill, that's all we got for the moment.
For the moment, thank you so much. We had 60 people stay with us to the very end, and we really appreciate that. And we had over 100 people log on for the full presentation. Once again, that only motivates us to work harder for you, and to deliver another webinar that meets your needs in the near future. So thank you, Roy, and thank all of you for being members and being involved in LERN. If you're not a member, check us out, and thank you so much for being here.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you, Bill.